And I didn't realize people got paid for recruiting. And I was like, how much do people get paid for recruiting? And they're like, oh, they get, like 5, 10, some $20,000. I was like, wow, they're doing this for free. Meet friends sooner, focus on skills. Once you have solid skills, focus on a good business model that gives you recurring money. And he grabs his computer, puts it outside the window and says, tell me you love me. And he gets on his knees and he says, I love you. I love you. Offshore bank accounts, less than 10K in them, because if it's less than 10K, you don't have to report it to the U.S. government.
You are about to embark on a journey, not just through space and time, but through the very fabric of human perception. Imagine a world where the familiar becomes strange, and the strange becomes familiar. A place where the boundaries of reality blur, and the only limit is your imagination. This is a voyage into the heart of the unknown, where every turn reveals a new perspective, and every story challenges what you thought you knew. Welcome to Bold Perceptions, where we explore the myriad ways people see the world and discover that sometimes the most extraordinary adventures lie just beyond the horizon of our own understanding.
All right, here we go. Back in Bold. Oh, it's another beautiful day in Nairobi. So far, I'm loving it. It's really Hakuna Matata. The Kenyan vibe is fantastic. I'm with online acquaintance today. We never talked on the phone or face-to-face, but we shot messages back and forth. I think we met on Twitter maybe, and we transitioned to Instagram. But your name, can we say it? Your ex name?
I would prefer not.
Okay, it had something to do with Brazil. So I think we found each other off like Brazilian content, and then yeah, man, we've been shooting back and forth, and you seem like an interesting dude. You brought up high ticket sales. This is how you're able to travel the world, live pretty good. I have mixed things from this. That's a weird, scammy little industry. I had a dude on before. California dude, I told him to his face, you sound a little slimy, but I liked his mindset, and I think he did some good business and so forth. Shout out Casey Cox. There's some things we need to solve, but I think he's a good dude. But anyways, today we're going to talk about this high ticket sales for sure, life in Brazil, life traveling, maybe even talking about dating a Brazilian, because we're both doing that, and that's a challenge in itself. But Mr. Desmond Dixon, how are you doing, my friend?
Dude, I'm high on life, man. I'm tuning in from actually Buenos Aires today in Argentina, which is a totally different vibe than Brazil, bro. So, but yeah, man, I'm blessed, brother.
Yeah, we were just chatting about that. So I have the big problem with I love Latin America, but if I stay there, I think the cutoff, is like 6-ish months, and then I start going crazy. Okay, like I go completely hedonistic. I start losing my mind. I get way too beleza, and I need to get back to civilization. In quotes. But yeah. Is Argentina like the perfect balance? There's a lot of dudes in the Twitter sphere that say this is the best ever. You guys got to come here now. We love it.
Yeah, man. I didn't understand it, but I would say the hype is real in terms of the quality of life, like specifically here in like Palermo, Soho. I feel like I'm in New York, man. Like the vibes and the food. I'm also surprised at how nice the people are. Right. I had some bad experiences with some Argentinians in terms of, them being a little bit more colder than Brazilians, but met some really cool Argentinians. The park scene, I would say Buenos Aires is a perfect city to live, minus the beach situation. Yeah, man, if they had a beach, I would live here, hands down. Hands down, I would live here.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I also had that stereotype of the Argentine people. I met a lot in Floripa. I met a lot in Europe, and I just had a great time with a dude from Buenos Aires in Hurghada, Egypt. Just a freaking character, owns a pharmacy, 40-some years old, still hasn't settled down yet, but just a solid dude. He's like, Nick, I have open apartments in Buenos Aires. You need to come. You stay as long as you want. If you start living there long time, okay, then pay me rent. But you can just stay there for a couple months. Hakuna Matata, And so I definitely want to visit. I was going to go there after most of last year in Brazil, and then I forgot what happened. But I think Buenos Aires, the prices, everything was the inflation was insane. But then I was seeing the prices for a solid apartment with a pool. Because there's not many pools in BA. It was $2,000 a month. And I'm like, come on. Like, I thought you guys were going through some crazy stuff here. So I said, fuck it, I'll do my Colombian adventure. And here I was getting places for $500 a month, beautiful pools. You know, I love Colombia, but I definitely am going to come back to Argentina. But have you noticed that? Like, what's the story? And the other thing was this. I didn't want to go exchange money. I want to use my freaking credit card. You have to play all these stupid games to get the right rates. Kind of fill me in on that.
Yeah, man. So obviously I brought some cash. But now that Milei's in office, things are stabilized a bit. And pretty much the credit card is almost the exact same percentage as the blue dollar in some degree, right? I think I calculated it and I was paying like with my 2% back on, let's say, my Apple credit card. I also use travel points and other stuff as well. But here I use the Apple card because I get the best exchange rate for some reason more than the Amex. Amex is like 1-for-1. Here it's like I get an extra like 5% with my Apple card. And with the 2% back, I'm paying only 3% more of the convenience of not carrying a shit ton of cash, right? I still carry cash. You still should carry cash. But if you're using an Apple card, I mean, it's pretty close to the blue dollar rate.
Oh, nice. For other travelers out there, the Chase, was it Sapphire or Preferred something, is really good with the exchange. There's a Capital One card. It's orange. That one might be called the Savior. Is amazing because Amex doesn't work in the most of the world. Okay, yeah, in the richest areas of countries, they'll probably take it. You know, the hotels, the super nice restaurants. But like in Brazil, they use it.
They take it.
They're taking Amex. Okay.
It's the only country in the world where I can buy a coconut with an Amex, bro. It's great.
Dude, it's a great, like, it's so we worry about the CBC stuff, but like in Brazil, paying the homeless guy with credit card, paying everyone with credit card, not having to deal with cash at all is unbelievable, especially for a developing country. Like in Italy, where can you use Amex besides like the biggest tourist attractions, the biggest hotels? You couldn't. Visa, MasterCard. Yeah. So that is just some tips for the travelers out there. So I'm glad. Okay, so Buenos Aires is blowing perceptions here. I think I saw, was it your tweet or Instagram? You said like, damn, I'm going to be spending more time here in the future.
Oh, 1,000%. I'm coming back at least a month. If like I'm already talking about coming back, me and my girl, like to do Patagonia properly. Because you need to bring like actual hiking stuff, bro. It's like no joke. You know what I mean? Like just can't wear your gym shoes or gym clothes. Like you need like proper like hiking and coats and things like that. So I'm for sure coming back. We just booked a trip to Bariloche, right? Which is I guess technically in Patagonia, but it's like a European style Swiss city.
Oh, that's the Nazis went. No, there was a Nazi place that they built up. I'm pretty sure.
It may. They have lots of chocolate and fondue, bro. So we're gonna get a cabin in the woods there on the lake and enjoy ourselves. But yeah, I'm definitely coming back multiple times. It's like an easy flight from Rio, where I'm usually based out of. It's like a $300 like round trip ticket, right? It's like the cheapest place you can fly from Rio that's outside of Brazil, which is a shame. It's another reason why. It's one of the reasons why I don't like Brazil. It's the logistics, but other than the logistics, it's a perfect place to live.
If you're just doing one ways in Brazil, you can make it happen. But if you have to do return trips, dude, like I think the idea behind it is they want to keep the Brazilians, the majority of them, in place, right? So like you can't fly; it's only for the rich people. If you want, you can take the 17-hour bus, and all that. So my theory on that is, because even the high middle class can't afford round trips flying in Brazil. Like it's like what it was in the 60s for USA, like a luxury to fly, So. But yeah, okay, let's get into this thing. So who the hell are you? I got some stuff up here. Founder of CXO Republic, a platform dedicated to helping businesses build high-performing sales team. You're the host of Campfire Capitalism, discussing sales strategies, remote work, and entrepreneurship. Sales experience with over 3 million in sales experience. I don't know if that's updated yet. Or
now digital, way more than that now.
Now he's way more, okay. And then digital nomad. Oh, you have this remotesalesmanager.io. So yeah, just kind of tell the people a little breakdown of you and why we should listen to.
Yeah, man. So I've been in the sales space in general since, it's been literally 10 years now. It's pretty crazy. And I actually stumbled in it on accident, man. I hate to put it that way. Like a friend of mine literally convinced me to not be a chemical engineer. I used to do stuff with rockets with NASA, like literally rocket science. and they convinced me to do some door-to-door sales one summer, and I loved it. And even though I failed and got fired after like a month and a half, I was so fascinated with the fact that you can like talk someone into buying something, like the art of the gap, right? And I thought that was very fascinating, especially since being an engineer. And so I was obsessed with sales, and I jumped in, did corporate. I did millions there. I think I did like 5 million. It's been so long, but I think I did like 5 million, 5 or 6 million in a few years while I was there before I left. And then went into the high ticket space, kind of like by my roommates in California at the time. They were doing it. I was like, what are you guys doing selling these little $3,000 programs? But I'm like, dude, I was doing like 10,000, 50,000, $150,000 POs with like corporate companies, big companies. And these guys were just slinging like coaching programs and courses and masterminds. We had a beach house in California at the time, and they're all loud and stuff like that. And shout out to Antanes, bro. He's still doing it, bro. He's still a savage. So they got me into it. They're like, dude, you got to try it. So I got into it. I closed like a 15K deal, 18K deal, two actually the first week in marketing for this guy named Sam Cook with James Cook Media. Shout out to Sam. He's the boy. He's one of the boys. And just fell in love, man. Like, it was so easy, right? So started doing marketing, and moved into a startup called Sanity Desk with a SaaS company, and built a team there. Went to Ukraine, built out, I think it was like 14 people total at the time with the sales op person. So SDRs, closers, things like that. We scaled to 7 figures, got into Techstars, was venture funded company, scaled the marketing agency at the same time as well. And just naturally got into consulting because people were like, dude, how are you doing this? How do you build teams? How do you, what are you doing for sales? So got into consulting, and then I was still building teams while I was consulting. And I didn't realize people got paid for recruiting. And I was like, how much do people get paid for recruiting? And they're like, oh, they get, like 5, 10, some $20,000. I was like, wow, I've been doing this for free. Right. So I got it. So I created the recruiting side of the business, and ended up at some, I think at the peak we were doing like 15 to 15 guys, hiring 10, 15 guys a month. My goal was to do 3 a day, but as you know, through hiring, it's hard as hell to scale hiring, especially with such a vast different offers. And but yeah, my bragging point is that I love is I got to help over 100 guys get into sales. So personally mentor them. So I mentored a lot of guys without charging them money. If I seen something in them, and if they really like showed they had the work effort, like if you guys listen to this and if you're getting into sales, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you out. Like if you're hungry, like if you're a waste of time, then I'm not gonna help you out. Like, but mentored a lot of guys, and I built about, I think at this point now, 44 sales teams in about 18 months total, something like that. So yeah, now I'm still doing some sales stuff. I kind of stopped the recruiting side of the business because it was just it turned into something I didn't want to do with my life. It was super stressful dealing with like human resources and recruiting, and I just went back to what I love to do, which is doing deals. And I'm in more into the private equity stuff and funding, and just a kind of like sales, but on just a higher level with millions of dollars, right? Transactions and things like that.
Yeah, it's on your website. You say deal maker. I like that. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I got a lot of questions here though. So the high ticket sales thing, and Casey kind of through our talks, hanging out in Bogota, made me understand it more. See, like I've never been a guy that's be like, okay, I'm going to pay $5,000 for a course. I'm like, are you serious? Like I can find this online, or how are these influencers selling this many things to these people where a lot of this is repackaged and we've been told over and over it's a scam, but that's not true, is it? Like these people are selling like hot cakes, these big ticket items. Is it? I mean, obviously there's work that goes into it, and people got to work their ass up. But is it not that hard as people think?
I would say there's 2 sides of the pie. One is a marketing led offer, and another is a more results driven offer. Okay, and so what I mean by that is on the marketing facing offer, at least they're doing shit ton of marketing. And like that's drawing people in. So it could be a YouTube channel, it could be Instagram, and they're just really good at marketing. And their audience wants to buy something from them. Maybe they are doing something related to dating. Maybe they're doing something related to personal development. Maybe they're doing something related to fitness. But either they're paying for the marketing with paid advertisement, which is really expensive. You have it really dialed in with your content, or they're using their personality, and their audience they have a starving audience that wants to buy something from them. Okay. I would say 90% of the courses out there are just probably a little bit more just kind of, I hate to say it, just full of shit. Um, some of the best, I would say, the best programs to kind of buy are one-on-one stuff, because I think there's something really valuable about working with someone one-on-one, even if they're small or big. But there's a lot of value in it, right? In
Well,
that
they cut through the
interaction.
bullshit too, especially like in the same industry you're in. So if he tells you, hey, do this, switch that, and all of a sudden it 10x's your money, it's really worth the one-on-one coaching, right? I relate this to the travel consultation, right? Dudes hit me up, like, hey, I'm going to this place, I'm going to that place. And, I said, okay, I'll give you the rundown. But if you want the in-depth part, okay, and you want my WhatsApp number to handle problems, if it goes down, then you're going to pay me this amount of money, right? And I used to think about this before, like, oh, I'm not going to pay, this dude, like, I'll go figure it out on my own. Right. But now that I'm getting older, it's like, damn, if I knew everything I knew, the first go around in Brazil, and I didn't have to waste all that time, all that money, and just paid this dude $500, $1,000, it would have been well worth it. So I think as you get older, you obviously understand the value of time and paying for it. So I always kind of relate it back to that, but I cut you off a little bit.
No, I mean, it's straight, man. I also think in a high ticket space, like marketing offers or B2B services are great because you're actually just solving a problem. Someone doesn't have time or someone needs like some type of leverage of some form from a service provider. So like anything B2B and high ticket prints money. I also think there's a lot of value in masterminds where you're in the same room with people that are going through, let's say, a similar thing as you. I think there's a lot of like, we're humans, we're meant to be tribal. Like one of the parts that suck is being by yourself, right? In the struggle, right? So like having people to relate with or just bring ideas off of. So like masterminds, one-on-one and B2B services seem to be, you're at least getting some value for your money. Courses, to me, it doesn't matter how much you pay for, even if it's for $5 to $5,000, most likely you're going to put it on the shelf and not finish it, right? And there's no like human interaction involved with it, right? You're just watching some videos that you can watch on YouTube, you know.
The big piece, though, I will say, when people pay for stuff, they usually do it because, like I said, everything on the internet is free, But if you don't have an investment towards it, a lot of times the people, oh, I can do it later, or they never have a sense of urgency, right? So I think there's a huge point to like an accountability coach or someone that says like, hey, look, this course you're going to pay top dollar for it, so you better actually invest your time and effort in it. So I think there's a lot of ideas here. The mastermind thing is beautiful. It reminded me this morning. I was at this cafe and I saw this white dude, and there's not many white dudes in Nairobi. So we started talking, and he's like, oh yeah, like I'm looking over my company here I just built, and I'm like, oh, what do you do? He's like, okay, you look down there, and like these dudes doing electric bikes and charging them, and he's like, yeah, I started this Spark thing here in Kenya, and before that I did like solar power stuff for most of underdeveloped Africa. I'm like, oh shit, but he was really cool about it, and so we started talking, and then he gave me his number, and then I look his name on there, and Leonardo DiCaprio is an advisor in his company. I'm just like, what the hell? So like, I've been lucky to walk around and talk to people everywhere I go. But if you're not, a social butterfly, sometimes it's better. Yeah, you pay to get in these masterminds and meet the people. But for anyone traveling, I'm telling you, no matter where you go, there's always shot callers. There's always movers. Find the areas. A big thing. I just did this in Egypt because the Wi-Fi is so bad. You go to 5-star hotels and you work in the bar area. You know what I mean? You had the coffee, even get some drinks. You start shooting the shit with everyone. There's always characters in these big hotels, and that's very much helped with my networking. Because if you're not living in New York City or Los Angeles, like you got to really go out there and find the people. They're not just going to go sit in your lap and make things happen for you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, man. I traveled to over 32 countries over the last few years, and to find community, like my strategy is I try to find people before I switch continents, right? So I use LinkedIn or Twitter to just like, okay, who's like the Latin bros, right? Then you have like guys who, based in Lisbon and, Tenerife and all that stuff in Europe. And then obviously there's the sea guys. So my big strategy, because I'm super sensitive of who I like to hang around. Like, dude, I love your vibe. So I was like, oh, let me be, I was like, I can see us being boys, right? Meeting up in different countries around the world, right? And so I'm super selective because there's a lot of like broke travelers and things like that. I want to avoid those guys. And dude, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you're gonna get freedom, I got nothing against you, right? But I just don't want it in my energy. You know what I mean? My space and my like the whole point of traveling is freedom, right? Like how I want to think, right? But in terms of like meeting local people, I think some of my favorites is actually the cafes because the baristas in the rich areas that, especially if they know English, they're usually really plugged in to people like in events and things like that. And they invite you to stuff or they introduce you to other, like if you go to a really nice cocktail bar, for instance, the bartenders like that make the great drinks, they know other great bartenders at other bars. So they can kind of get you plugged into reservations like that, skip the line, things like that. So I like to like find the locals who are like plugged in the social scene. That seems to be a lot of value for me. And then in Rio, specific, I know some investment bankers and like that. The socialites in Brazil, that's a whole nother thing, right? Like kind of breaking into that in that world. But yeah, man, something easy is literally the bartenders at a really nice cocktail bar and the baristas in the rich areas. Just become friends with them, and they will literally plug you into people. Then I'll give you the third one. I hate to give the secret away, but I gotta give it away. Is the language schools. So go to language schools, whatever country you're in. I mean, obviously it has to be a good language, but like in Brazil, you just go to the language school. You'll meet other gringos or foreigners or pharaohs, right? Depending on where you are in the world right now. And then also you'll meet the support staff in that school that also knows people, right? Like my assistant works at the language school and like dude's super plugged in. Like he knows so many people, right? And he introduces me to people all the time. So those are little hacks, man. Go to the language school if you're in Latin America. Even if you're, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, even Thailand, right? There's a lot of foreigners learning, especially the foreigners that are taking the time to learn the language are deeper travelers. So those are the kind of people that you also want to be, friends with probably. Yeah. So those are some hacks, man.
Yeah, I think everyone forgets no matter where you're at in the world, there is big shot callers. Some of the richest people I've ever met have been from the northeast of Brazil because you get into these circles a lot faster when you're the only gringo or the only foreigner there. They're like, why the hell are you here? What are you doing? And then you're kind of rushed through it. In Rio, it's a lot harder to get in with the biggest socialites in the world because it's a world famous city, right? But in other places, oh my God, who are you? Why are you here? There's automatic interest. And if you're not a doof, if you have some sort of social skills, like you get in there pretty quick, right? And I think that's a good point for a lot of people that want to be, they say like tier 1 cities or the movers and shakers. Bro, there's movers and shakers in every city, and it's on you to find them. If this is what you're about, okay? Some people, yeah, and I don't advise you just to be on the lookout for business. This stuff has to happen like naturally. Like you said, have a vibe with someone. You don't just try to be like that. There's that meme about like the sociopathic gringo in Latin America doing deals with, very bad people and causing more issues, right? So, but yeah, great networking tips right there. I wanted to go back, yes, to everything you did, okay? Obviously, it sounds like you've been successful. For dudes in this kind of space, what do you wish that you dropped out, you would have focused on faster? You said the recruiting is making a shit ton of money, but way too much overhead drama at the end of it. Give me a more of a fast track from your experience to get to where you are now at.
So I would say, oh, it's easy. I would say I wouldn't go to Europe first. Like I spent a lot of time in Europe when I first started traveling. And looking back on it, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I spent more time in Latin America because one of the time zones, two, it's a lot more value for your money and it's a lot more good energy in Latin America than it is in Europe. And Europe summers are great. Don't get me wrong. Like the partying, like the food, the vibes. Like I love Europe. But I think if you're just starting out, like Latin America is perfect. So I wish I came to Brazil faster. Now that I'm in Argentina, I was like, man, this should have been the second country I came to, right? When I first started traveling. Number two is focus in the beginning on skill. Okay. So it could be programming, it could be sales, it could be marketing. Those three things are probably not going away, even though you're hearing about this AI stuff. You still have so many people that need to, like, my mom doesn't have no idea what AI is, bro. You know what I mean? There's a ton of people who have no idea. Like, we're years out from that being like mainstream. It's just a bunch of nerds and us like privileged people that understand AI, but there's a lot of normal people that have no idea about AI, right?
Or they know,
So
but they have nothing to use it for because they have a
yeah,
normal job, or they just, oh, I use it for my, if they're a student, my papers, but they don't know how to leverage this and make money with it. Like very, very few.
yeah. So I'll focus on the skill first. Once you get a skill, I would say your first hire, if you want to build an agency, should be someone operationally. So an assistant is great. I think getting an assistant in Brazil or Colombia or even Argentina. I mean, when I say it, everyone can afford an assistant, bro. Everybody. I don't care what, if you're a freelancer, you're like, get an assistant, start replacing things in your life, and then restructure your business model. So like in the beginning, you're going to be like a freelancer, like trading your time for money, or a consultant. Then change your business model to focus on reoccurring revenue, right? That was what I did, and it worked out really well because now you have predictable revenue. It's just less stress. You can structure your days better. Like, it was some points where I was only working like 2 to 3 hours a day, and like, I didn't work on Fridays. Like, I didn't take calls on Fridays for like 4 years, bro. 3 or 4 years. And once you're at that point of like, okay, you have stable cash flow or reoccurring cash flow, then you can scale it. Right. And then you offer different services, to sell to the same people, and things can get a little bit fun. Now, at this point, you need to hunker down. Right. So when you're in the business model, like building mode with the recurring revenue, just pick your favorite place in the planet. After this point, you should be traveling for a year. At this point, you should know what you like. For me, that was Bali. I loved Bali. So I stayed in Bali and built out my business model before I started traveling again. And then another thing that I wish I did sooner would have been community. So in the beginning, I just cared more about adventure and like, seeing places. I didn't really care so much about meeting people. And I think that's just for everybody, right? You don't think about, oh, I need to meet friends or I need to meet people. I wish I made an effort to build friendships a lot sooner, because now I have friends all over the world that I can meet up with and things like that. So meet friends sooner, focus on skills. Once you have solid skills, focus on a good business model that gives you recurring money, and then hire an assistant in Latin America. Like, those are the 4 things I wish I did. So I'll give to my past self, right? Yeah.
Great stuff. First thing, the skill. You can't skip the step though. You need to know and master the skill yourself, because if you're going to hire people to tell them exactly what you want, know how much to pay for it, don't get screwed over, because a lot of these, virtual assistants and so forth, like, they want to get paid just as much. You got to make it fair for them, but they'll take as much as you're willing to offer, right? But if you know what you're doing, you can negotiate better, you can manage way better, right? The community part. Yeah, hold on. So before I forget this thought, the skill stuff, I want to go into like examples of this skill stuff, okay? And take the process you just said, and we'll pick like 2 or 3 skills and make it really easy and concrete for people to see the process. But the community part is interesting because I've been blessed. Half the year I'm a professional athlete, a part-time professional athlete, and I'm thrown into one, right? So my left tackle is a lawyer. My center owns or manages the McDonald's, and, I got students on here. So I get that for half the year. And the other half, now I was like you too, like, I'm like, fuck it. I just want to do crazy stuff. And, it does hurt, the roller coaster with emotions and losing people. And I wrote about this before. Like, you learn to appreciate the moment. Okay. And what's meant to be is meant to be. But I never really had to build too many lasting relationships when I'm in my nomad mode half the year, right? And so maybe we can talk about that later on, how you've done that. We just talked about going to cafes and whatnot, but if you're only in a place for a month, is it possible? How many do you actually keep? So what do you want to hit first, that community aspect, or going through like 2 to 3 skills where we can show people exactly, what you're going to do to get here?
Just for the flow, let's just do the skills first. I think obviously for me, sales is the easiest skill because you could do it with a laptop and a decent background. And, it's more about, it's one of those things where it's like dancing, where like you can watch a lot of videos on dancing and you can read some books on dancing, but you're only going to learn how to dance by dancing, right? And I think sales is the exact same thing. You can read as many books as you want. You can watch as many videos, motivational videos, whatever. But you only get better in sales by just being thrown in the fire and just repetition, right? I also
So how am I
think,
going to find this? Am I getting a job on LinkedIn? Am I going to hit up an influencer and say, let me sell for you? What am I doing?
yeah, so you're gonna start at the bottom, which is like a setter, an SDR, like everyone does. Like no one's not gonna trust you to convert right away. So yeah, you just need to really just find, I would say, find a mentor or a group or people that's already doing it, and just get your feet wet, right? Be a yes man and just get your feet wet, man. So like you can use Upwork. Upwork is going to be hard if you don't have any experience. So like probably finding someone that knows people is to be honest, your fastest way to get started. So either literally people that are selling, like they love helping, like they were in your shoes. So if you're like seem like a go-getter, they're gonna point you in the right direction. If you have to pay for a community, dude, don't pay any more than $100 a month, straight up. So there's gonna be guys out there that will sell you how to become a salesperson, whatever, and like most of that shit is just fugazi, bro. So don't do that, right? So find either people that's in it already or find a community that's the fastest way, in my opinion.
One of my notes, and I forgot to say it, is doing this shit. So not even starting your own podcast, but screw it. You'll learn a lot of skills doing that or creating content. You're a photographer, post your photos, whatnot. Through this, me and you are talking. Okay. Through this, I've met too many people to count by doing a podcast. And my thing is not huge at all, right? But it's been an amazing networking tool. So put yourself out there. And the best example I've saw on this is this dude on Twitter, Bolo. His name is Bolo. Yeah. This guy was documenting his journey, like completely authentically, not worried about what anyone was saying. He got ripped on so many different times. And I mean, I assume his numbers are true or whatnot, but all these people are offering to help him. All these big names were like, oh, this dude's actually doing it. He's a go-getter, right? And I think he's living well in Marbella now and all that. So that's a beautiful way, and not even just for making money and so forth, but if you're going to live this nomadic life, like you said, the Latam bros, okay, I found some on Twitter, and you're going back and forth, and so many of these dudes are giving out free advice. You message them you reply to their Twitter tweets, and they want more engagements, and you ask them, hey, the best thing here or there, and a lot of them give you free stuff. So you got to put yourself out there. That's the biggest thing. Don't be the lurker. Don't be one of those guys, and have some good energy.
I mean, you for sure need to have some form of a personal brand, like at all. Like even when you get into sales, people are gonna, if you're on their sales counter, they're gonna look you up. They're gonna Google you, right? Like so, like first, I have like my website's on point, my Instagram's on point, my LinkedIn's on point. I'm anonymous on Twitter, right? So let's keep that cool, Nick, right? Yeah, man, like people are gonna look you up. And so like, dude, I like when I was recruiting and hiring people for jobs, one of the first things I would do is like click on their profile or check them out on social media. Like, okay, what's this person? Like, who is this person? Right. So personal branding, and like I love the reply idea. Yes, that's actually really, really good. If you want to get certain people's attention. But I do think that you do need a network with people in whatever industry that you want to be on, and just be a networker. Like just jump on calls, 15 minutes. You'll be surprised, like because people in this space, in the high ticket space, they have access to the offers. So they know who's hiring sometimes because they're in communities. So what I'm saying, reach out to other salespeople like Bolo Scout, like go to his replies and see, okay, what salespeople are replying to Bolo Scout, and then DM them, right? And then like they're gonna point you in the right direction. So it's just all about how bad you want it. Anyone can get into sales. It's just a matter of staying in sales is the art, right? Like, can you develop yourself, get the skills, have the persistence, the resilience. I will say having a mentor does help you go farther, faster, right? So good mentorship, because that person's going to tell you stuff that you don't want to hear, that you probably need to hear. And you're going to have low moments where you question everything. If you're not doing that in sales, you're not pushing hard enough. Like, dude, like for me, like 10K a month is like nothing, right? To do, right? In terms of like actual compensation. And like, dude, I'm in a bad spot. I'm in a bad mental spot. 10K a month. I even need a coach, right? I got someone I go to. I'm like, yo, bro, like I need to talk this out, right? Like there's nothing to do with sales. Maybe it's like one of my personal life. Maybe we need to unpack, right? So I think mentorship in the form of a great sales manager or a coach or just a mentor in general can also help you go really, really far and sustain yourself in this business for sure.
Yeah, all the money Twitter dudes say 10K is minimum wage now.
It's
Oh
nothing,
man.
bro. It's literally check to check, bro.
I promise
Check.
you this though. I promise you this. When I first started traveling, I was living very, very, very good on about $2,000 a month. Okay. So for anyone that wants to start out, take the jump. Okay. And then obviously earn more and more money. But if you're fluid with things and know how things operate, and you can take a girl to the park for a wine date instead of going to a high-end rooftop bar in Milano, like you learn so much more. So some of the best travel memories, some of the best experience I've ever had was like, damn, okay, how do I finesse this? Which way do I go? Not just, throwing money around and having no worries. It was more like a game at that point too. And I think you developed a lot more skills this way, traveling, we're talking about, on the road. Now, is it meant for everyone? No. Like there's a lot of horror stories of dudes, getting lost in the sauce because of this. But, dude, going to the hostel life in Europe and experiencing crazy stuff, I've talked about many times on this podcast. I mean, you have to do it, like, especially when you're young. Right now, if you're 32 and 33, like, it's probably not good, and you kind of miss the boat on that end. You can make other experiences up, but anyways, 10K is the minimum wage now in money Twitter, which is great. It's motivation, pushing people. But okay, so guess what? Sales. How do I find what I want to sell? Is it just, okay, this guy, I like him the most, I trust him? Is it a product I like? Because a lot of people, it's hard to bullshit. Like, I don't want to sell anything I don't like, that I care about, that I don't believe in. What is your solution for that?
I think what matters is there volume to sustain your life, right? So like there's a lot of bad offers out there. When I say bad, I mean they have no deal flow. They have really hard conversions because their value proposition is very terrible. So AKA you're going to be living in welfare, working your butt off, right? You're more likely to live on welfare working your butt off, to be super honest, right? Which is cool if you're living on 2K, 3K a month, but I think that you should want to make more money if you're making that. Like, I think once you get to 10K and you're sustaining it, you'll realize that, oh, wow, I can see the path to 30K, 40K, 50K, right? But I would focus more on like who has deal flow. Like, that's what matters most. So you could find easy deal flow. There's two easiest or three easiest strategies. One is freaking Upwork, because you can see how much that person spent. And so if they spent 30K, 50K, or $1 million on Upwork, that means they're making some serious money if they're like, are spending money on Upwork on operations and services, right? So Upwork jobs, that stuff dude, it's super easy. Like, Upwork is super easy. Number two is you can go on Facebook.
Hey, hold on. For dudes that grew up like us, I don't know if it's that easy, because I never hired a single American or someone from the UK, not even Western Europe. Okay, my best people, Romanian, the Philippines, some Indian clowns, and Brazilians. I'm surprised that people get hired.
You'd be surprised. I was surprised on Upwork as well. I was very surprised. I didn't realize it. I wish I used Upwork like for my agency on both ends of it, like years ago. Like we started the project, we hired a consultant to start, and then we got distracted with other stuff because it doesn't matter. But Upwork, bro, I'm trying to tell you, bro. It sounds crazy, but people use it to hire. They use it. I even check it every now and then just to see, right? At all levels. Because they want American people, like they don't want to hire, or they want, Western people, right? Number
especially
two
for sales, the voice and all that.
Especially for sales. Yeah. So like it's just easier for them, right? It's better talent on Upwork. Number two is Facebook ad library. So this is a real plug. So whatever industry you're interested in, you can literally search the keyword, right? And you can find people that have active ads. And like, if you see someone with, let's say, 10 ads, that means they're running a ton of lead generation through that funnel, which means they have they have deal flow. Deal flow equals you get paid, right? So Facebook ads, DMing influencers is not going to work, to be super honest, because they probably don't even manage their own DMs. They have a setter or an assistant managing usually their DMs, their messaging, and they get a ton of inbound messaging. So I wouldn't do that. I mean, you can, but the chances that you actually would get something, like the return on time, is very, very low. You're better off finding someone that works for them and contacting them somehow. that someone that their management structure. So it could be their operations person, their partner. You're better off reaching out to them and getting a job.
And how do you go through that? Do you go through their follower or who they're following, or you go to their tag posts? Because you can find a lot of dudes like that are in with the movers and shakers that have 2,000 followers. Like how are you finding those people?
I mean, so the guerrilla way is to have a dummy email account and just go into their process, right? And if they do have a salesperson, they go call you, and you can like kind of probe that way, like, oh, interesting. Like, is he just doing this by himself, or I'm just a little confused? You can act confused, right? And they'll talk about like, is it just him? Like how does he have time to do all this? And they'll give you more information, right? Especially if it's a low level salesperson, like you'd be surprised, right? So you can do information mining that way. Also, you can just search, like people like to brag if they're associated with certain type of people. So like simply literally searching, right? The internet. Because they might talk about them on LinkedIn, or they might talk about how they work with them on their website, right? So either you can be a secret shopper, or you can just do some really good research, right? Not be lazy. Go to the second page of Google, guys. Go to the second page of Google, right? But where I'm getting at is you can get a job in sales. It's just a matter of like, if you're not lazy and just willing to like do that extra step to get a job. I mean, there's plenty of people hiring, and you just need one shot. But focus on deal flow. Like, don't just jump on an offer, but jump on the offer that has volume so that you actually get paid, right? Chances of getting paid are higher.
A lot of good info. You're breaking it down step by step. Do we want to hit more steps on this, or do we kind of wrap it up? Because I also want to talk about fun stuff, dating a Latina, some other non-business.
Yeah, let's go
topics.
to that. Let's move on. Let's move on, man. Let's move on.
But the good part is people said, or you said that they can reach out to you if they're actually about it, and you'll kind of lead them in the right direction.
Yeah, man. Just reach out to me on Instagram. I'm a human. I'll respond to you, and more than happy to help anyone get into sales. I love sales, changed my life, so I'm more than happy to pay it forward, for sure.
Beautiful. Okay, I think every man, before they get married, one needs to date a Slavic woman. Okay, I think that will teach you a lot about how to actually be a man. The polarity between the feminine and the masculine is definitely life-changing in my opinion. But then also a Latina, because a Latina will make you feel, will make you express, and will put you on a roller coaster that you've never experienced. The Slavic woman does too, but it's very cunning, okay? And it's sneaky. And all of a sudden, the last minute, you're like, oh my God, like, you were stone cold for this long, and now you flip the switch. But the Latina, holy shit, it's a wild roller coaster, and we love them. Okay, they're amazing. They're beautiful. They're hygienic. So hygienic, and but they're fucking crazy. So tell me, when did you start dating Latinas? And now you've been quite successful. I think you have a wedding ring on, no? Or you're engaged?
I have a relationship ring, man. I got a
relationship ring. So yeah, you're in deep. You're in really deep.
I'm in, bro. I'm in. Dude, I was not expecting to have a girlfriend when I came to Brazil. But it just naturally happens, man. Like, it's just one of those things that's like,
to so many.
Yeah, there's so many. But when I say you get a good one, I mean, dude, I travel the world, bro. I used to have girlfriends all over the world, things like that. And you get bored, man, at some point, right? Because you're like, at some point, it's just like, what am I doing this for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, am I just doing it just because it's cool, And, I think she came in my life at the perfect time. And I would say, like, don't force it, because I heard a lot of horror stories, right? Like, I mean, do you have to really be serious about red flags, especially with Latinas? And tread, like, dude, I've heard some crazy stories, and the laws in these Latin American countries are a lot different than in the West, right? In terms of like access to your stuff, and how the society favors women, right? In certain, let's say, cases, certain situations, if they're just go crazy on you and lie on you, which is also common. Hate to put it that way, but I would say mine's kind of happened organically. Things just kept going deeper and deeper. And it came to a moment where I was like, I'm an idiot if I don't wife this up, bro. Freaking idiot. Like, beautiful, super smart, caring, family oriented, fun, likes the same things I do, supportive, super supportive. And yeah, you just get to a point where I'm an idiot, if I don't like this is like a treasure, right? You don't want to, man, we want to protect their treasure, right? So it's like, oh yeah, this is it, right? But yeah, man, what questions you got for me, man, about dating in Brazil, bro? I'm more than happy to share the game for sure.
When I said so many, I meant so many gringos fall in love with the Brazilian girl. Okay, I think Mark Manson wrote one of the best articles on Brazil as a whole, but also dating a Brazilian. It's just type in Mark Manson Brazil. Great article. I really recommend everyone read that. But also on the other end, yeah, there are so many beautiful women. Okay, but you're exactly right on the red flag thing. Like, because I mean, the abundance of the beauty, you can be very picky. Okay, you one day you think this is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my entire life, and the next day there's another one. So I never forget, like walking. They put me in an okay neighborhood by Pampulha. The lake in Belo Horizonte. I cannot pronounce it, but not like on the lake, not with the really rich. Yeah, Horizonte. Not with the really rich people. Okay, so I was still a little decrepit and a typical Brazilian suburb. And I remember just seeing like a couple homeless people and then a model that could be in Milano just walking right by them like nothing. I'm just like, what? I'm in the middle. I mean, it's a huge city, okay, and they're known for some of the most beautiful women in Brazil. But I'm like, what is going on here? It doesn't like click in your brain if you're not, growing up in it and so forth. And you also see a lot of these dudes who are completely buffoons, overweight, sloppy, and they have 5 girlfriends. Okay, like it's a land of it doesn't make sense. I actually just posted a reel today, and you got to read the caption. It's about my feelings about this country and so forth. But back to the Latina. Yeah, I don't know, man, because like it seems no matter what social class it is, they all have the similar telenova or whatever the Brazilians used to watch thing with drama, and it goes into Brazil. It's full of life for good and for bad. Okay, it's a complete roller coaster of chaos, danger, euphoria, like everything, and the Latina embraces it. So you have the best moments in the world, but the passion. But if you don't put your foot down, if you don't know how, if you didn't grow up with them, you need to learn really quick how to handle it. Because like you said, so many dudes get lost in the sauce, and it's bad.
Yeah, they'll take advantage of you. Like you literally have to, like, this is it. Like this is the letter of the law. Like, and like here's why it's important for us. So it's not just about like being rigid, but you also have to enroll into like why it's important, right? And like they want that. A lot of the insecurity is stemmed in like for them, and like that you'll leave them, right? Or you'll find another beautiful person. Because once again, like, dude, I think Brazil is the only country in the world where it's like every day I'm like, wow. Even my girlfriend, like she even say it. You know what I'm saying? Like she sounds strange with this, right? I think like it's the only country in the world where it's like, wow, every day there's like you see something new and you're like, it's incredible. It's like the only place in the world I've seen it, right? And so there's always that fear or that insecurity in the relationship in general around that, because Brazil also has a crazy culture around cheating, like normal, like regular Brazilians. And so you being a foreigner dating a Brazilian, it's just different for them and they have to adjust. But when you lay boundaries in your relationship, you just need to tie it to like why is this boundary being put in place? And if they agree with the future, what you're trying to create, then like they're going to like fall into that place because they want to be with you long term. They want the relationship to work long term, right? So, but there are crazy Brazilians, like, so when I say local, bro, like I've heard some stories, bro. Like my one friend was telling me, like, he was like, bro, this one girl, she got to my door. I don't know how she got past the portiere, but she got to my door. She comes in and she yells at me saying, I need you to tell me you love me. Like, I need to hear it. Tell me you love me or I'm going to scream. Right. And like, he's like, what? And he grabs his computer, puts it outside the window and says, tell me you love me. And he gets on his knees and he says, I love you. I love you. And then she leaves, bro. So there's stories like that too. So you got to be careful of like, they're beautiful, but like some are dangerous, bro. Right. So you just got to be like cautious. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I see this on social media all the time. A lot of dudes in the USA or Europe, especially not Southern Europe, like fantasize about the crazy in love woman. Okay. But once you get it, my friends, I tell you, you never ever want to deal with it again, because this is completely psychotic and it ruins many dudes' lives. Okay. And I'm not saying it's just women. There's a lot of nutcase dudes and dudes that murder people and so forth. But the emotion of the Latina, if it's not, you got to make sure they had a father in their life. That's certain. Okay. Because if they didn't have a father in their life, there comes a lot of problems with that will be taken out on you. And that's typical around the world, in my opinion. But this is not rookie mode, on the video game. Like you can go down there and yeah, you can lay pipe all you want and, be a whore and okay, have fun. And I do think some dudes should get it out of their system, realize that hedonism is not the answer for most, some people they're completely wired differently, but it's different, man. And I would really be stressed to every dude out here. Like if you're going to get in a relationship or even mess with some of these women, you need to be very careful and maybe have two places where you're staying, one for the hooking up, one for normal, because it can go south really fast. But here's the thing. Best advice, and thank God I've been doing this for a long time, is just be honest with these people, okay? You need to be honest traveling, especially when you're in a land full of abundance, because a lot of dudes aren't honest because they're living in scarcity, right? So they'll say whatever they can to get the woman to come over, right? But if you're living in a place where you're the prize, you can say, hey, look, here I'm here. I'm looking to meet good people, share good vibes. And if we connect, have great sex, is this a problem for you? 95% of the time, okay, not that much, but they're like, oh, wow, I really appreciate the honesty. Like, yeah, like let's meet. I don't want you to expect anything, but at least I know your intentions if that's the vibe. I said, of course, I don't want to sleep with you if the vibe's not right. Okay. Like I've gotten older. Like I can't just put my thing in everywhere. It doesn't make me happy. So be honest with them. Because if you're honest with them, especially out the get-go, when the drama happens later on in the relationship, you can say, hey, I told you at the start, like you can't hate me for this. I didn't lie to you. Okay. And you need to respect it. And they do.
Yeah. This ain't Thailand. Also, I think that you need game with Latinas.
What do you mean about Thailand?
Like this ain't Thailand. Like Thailand, you could just walk around and you know what I mean? You don't need to take care of yourself so much. And you can just get away with just being a foreigner. Like, dude, if you come to South America, bro, you need game with these Latinas, bro. Like you just can't, just because you're an American, they're not going to date you. You know what I mean? Or because you're a foreigner, or you're different. Like you just need personality. You need some style. Like they really care about hygiene and like all that kind of stuff. Right. So just dude, I see so many guys make that mistake when they come to Brazil and just look like bums or whatever. And it's like, bro, you're not going to pull any baddies looking like that.
Exactly. Baddies. They will pull girls, okay? But it's the most crazy favela, people you don't want to be messing with. And you're going to think she's beautiful because a lot of them, yeah. I mean, I highly recommend everyone hang out with some favela girls, and learn new cultural experiences, okay? But you're going to get into crazy, not with the right people if you're coming there looking like a slob. You're going to get laid, okay? But it's going to be with the trouble, okay?
Yeah, if you're going to pull baddies, you gotta have game.
Well, this is the reason dudes they're dying in Colombia too, because it's those type of dudes that come down there and think, "Oh, I'm a gringo, I have blue eyes, it's going to be Hakuna Matata," and then they end up drugged and they're clueless.
Stay in Colombia, dude. I love Brazil. Yo, what's cool is I have a company setting up in Brazil called Gringo Setup right now, and we're doing events. So now that I have a girlfriend, we can't go out with single people, right? So. And there's so many gringos that have karaoke girlfriends in Rio. So we're setting up a ton of couples dinners, beach things just for couples. And then we're going to have some singles. So it's going to be 80% couples, 20% singles. But there's a huge market of people in Brazil that want to have friends groups with other couples, right? There's so many of them in Rio, man. So if you come to Rio with your girl, man, if you're a Brazilian, man, come hang out with us, bro. But yeah, the dating culture is crazy in Brazil, man. It's crazy.
And the great thing about Brazil, because like you said, don't come to Brazil, the Colombia type of dudes. Brazil's never going to get overpacked. Maybe you're real, okay? But Brazil has 30 plus cities with over 1 million people. Okay. There was times in Joe Pessoa, I didn't see another gringo for weeks on end. I didn't speak, well, besides my teammates, I didn't speak English to people on the street, you know? And I think Brazil, there's not enough. There's only like, I think Colombia has more tourists than Brazil. I'm pretty sure that's the statistic, which is insane because Colombia is tiny compared to the landmass and the population of Brazil. But speaking of Rio, though, okay, because this is obviously a spot that everyone's like, oh, okay, Brazil, Rio, you know, it's famous and so forth. Now, I've been there. And I mean, I didn't stay a month, okay? So maybe if I stayed longer, I would get to know the local scene better and so forth. But why Rio? And have you been exploring other places or just the Floripas, Sao Paulo's? Where have you been?
So I've been in Rio most of the time for about, I think, 7, 8 months total in Rio. I've been in Sao Paulo a few months. Been in Bonito, which is, 2-hour flight from Sao Paulo in the center. That was an interesting experience in the interior of Brazil, totally different world. Ilha Grande, and I have a few trips in the north for in January set. I have some more trips pretty much for Brazil, but I like Rio because the cariocas are freaking awesome. The weather, the nature, yeah, dude, it's hard to beat, bro. It's like it's a city that drives you crazy because it's very hard to work there because of the beach culture, and it can feel very chaotic. Like I have to leave, like, dude, I'm in Buenos Aires because I was like, I just need to leave Brazil for a month, right? I need something to switch me up. But dude, like if you meet a carioca and you fall in love with the carioca, like, dude, Rio, you're gonna be in Rio at least 4 to 6 months a year. I'm planning on spending 4 to 6 months a year in Brazil, in Rio, right?
That's a good timetable. I think that's really good. The Rio people, I don't know. I had a roommate in BH who's from there. He played ball with me. Good dude, really good dude. But I met a lot, and I don't know. Maybe I just don't like being in the popular spots, the hot spots. I like to kind of go out and get lost and find a way. But yeah, dude. I mean, it's a great city. It's a world class city. It's hard to beat. Many people have said it over the history. It's unbelievable. So I can see the vision. But yeah, explore though. Explore a couple more, and yeah, you fell in love with one, so you'll probably settle down there and so forth. But I don't know. I couldn't see myself being there for long, but I need to try. I should try.
Yeah, it's so much more than like Ipanema. Like if you're stuck in Ipanema, like, of course, but like Hecleo, like there's so many beaches outside of the South Zone that are like magnificent, right? Like the natural beaches, like if you go just literally just beam it west, I mean, there's so many beautiful beaches. There's a lot of like it's a show culture, like nightlife. So it's not like Sao Paulo where it's like nightclub, like American like style or European style nightclubs. It's like you go to shows, so pagoji or samba or electronic music or even rap shows. Like people love shows, so it's a show culture. Um, it's definitely the most expensive city I think in South America, so it's not cheap to live there. Like I think I spend like 7K a month, 6 7K a month to live a
Yeah, at
comfortable
least
life.
at least
Five if
at
I'm
least
lucky.
five. At least
I'll
five. You
say
got a
five
budget
if I'm
for
lucky.
real.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not cheap place to live for sure. It's definitely not a cheap place to live. But if you do come to Rio, I think you need to come for at least a solid month. I have a friend there now that I met in Bali. He was like, he came to Rio. He's going to be there when I'm back in November, and he's like, bro, I get it. he, he's like, I understand. He's like, he's stuck. He's going to be like, no, I'm going to be here for at least 3 months. So once you're boots on the ground and get to feel the vibe, you're going to get stuck. That's what happens to most people.
Why? I never asked you. Why'd you start traveling?
So I had this dope place in California. Like I had this dream life set up. Had a different girl at the time, American. And when I first got into high ticket sales, I got like my client was in Ukraine, based out of Ukraine, American guy running his business out of there. And I went out there for 70 days with him, 75 days, and worked out there during the pandemic. And I was like, wow, I can work anywhere. I was like, I don't need to be spending like, dude, I was spending 10K a month living in Southern California. This like I have dope place downtown in San Diego. I said, why am I spending all this money to live in this place? And we were stuck in we're stuck in. And I was like, okay, it's time to leave. So put everything in storage after the lease was up and just started traveling, bro. It's like, why not? Like, been stuck inside during the pandemic the entire time. So why not just, leave.
Wait, the first place you went was Ukraine?
First place, but it was for work. So I was working remotely out of Kiev. Yeah.
And this is
Brought
2020?
some friends with me. Yeah, brought some friends with me. They end up, one of them, like, dude, one of them is married to a Ukrainian girl, and the other one is still with his Ukrainian girlfriend in Poland, right? I left, they did. It's funny. They stayed.
No, I was when I was living in Poland, I was so excited to go to Ukraine, and then boom, the war hit off, and that was wild. I mean, I got a lot of Ukrainian culture because millions came across the border, so it was interesting. But I hope that war ends soon because I really want to visit that country and Russia. I want to spend the summer in St. Petersburg. It looks freaking amazing. I need to go to Odessa, Lviv. I've heard so many good things about the that part, and I love the Slavic people. I've been to, I lived in Poland, okay, and then former Soviet Union stuff, the Balkans, Slovakia's, all that kind of stuff. But I was gonna say, Ukraine. Did you see a Foreign Strategies video when he was there? He was there right before you, probably a year. Have you ever heard of that dude, Foreign Strategies, T-Bob?
Yes, I think I've heard of him, but I don't think I've watched that video because I wasn't like in the travel stuff.
He might be in Argentina right now. I think he was in Salta or one. I was just on the phone with him. You need to meet him. He's a good dude. Yeah, you need to meet him. Okay, my friend. So I don't even know how old you are. I assume you look young. You look young, but maybe low 30s. What's the future looking like? Are we gonna start setting bases up like a bunch of nomads talk about? I know I personally have a plan, but it's gonna be some few years. I got to see a couple more countries. Tell me about how do we sustain this lifestyle? Do we have multiple bases? What the hell are you gonna do?
Yeah, dude, I'm for sure setting up 2 bases for sure. So Brazil, I've been actively looking at real estate, and I'm legally set up in the country, right? So I'm able to have banks and all that kind of stuff. So Brazil is a place I'm looking to set up a base, and then Italy, obviously, because I love the food there, just for the summers. So having a summer house. And
time out. Where you been? Where you been in Italy?
So the South, Sicily, Rome, Milan. I haven't been to Venice or Florence yet, but that's just, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go. I have no interest really going to those places because I love the South.
No. You need to go. You need to go. You need to see Venice I don't care how big of a tourist trap it is. Venice is like, how the hell do we make something like this? It's on par with, like I was just in Egypt last month and seeing the ancient history. I love history. I was blown away. I've seen all the Roman history, okay? And I thought that was as best as it's going to get. And the Egyptian history blew that out of the water. But aesthetically pleasing and city, there's nothing like Venice. It's insane. In Florence, I love Florence. Firenze is such a beautiful country. So make sure you see some of the north. But I cut you off. What else? What other places?
No. I mean, like I have 2 residencies. One, I won't say. Obviously Brazil, that's home base for right now. I hate to say this, but like I love Thailand. Like, dude, I freaking miss the food, the people, the convenience of life, like all the things. And so I think I'm gonna do the DTV with them, like the 5-year like multiple entry thing. Just to have in my back pocket
they lowered that price too, didn't they? The elite investor
like
one?
Nothing. No, it's not the elite, not the elite investor one. It's
they made a new one, right? They made a new one.
Yeah, it's like no brainer, bro. It's a no brainer. You could do it remotely. So it's like I think it was like $500 or less $500. It's like a no brainer, bro.
5 years
to having your 5 years, having your back pocket. Like, here's my plan. If I ever needed to start over in life, because whatever reason, I have like, you have your start over pack so if you're gonna be traveling, you need a start over pack, okay? If you're doing this live, so that you don't get caught with your pants down. So start over pack would be offshore bank accounts, okay, less than 10K in them, because if it's less than 10K, you don't have to report it to the U.S. government, right? If you have 10K in collective bank
accounts, to a lawyer about that, attorney.
Yeah, talk to a lawyer. Talk to a lawyer. Yeah. It's not the advice, but you need to start over pack, okay? So it could be crypto, cash, bank accounts, right? And if you need to start a new business or whatever like that, or whatever happens, like for me, I'll go to Southeast Asia, right? That's where I would start over with crypto and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, the DTV visa is sick, man. It's 5 years, less than $500. It's a no brainer.
Hey, hold on. I love Thailand. Okay, there's nothing like getting $3 massages every day, amazing, beautiful massages. And the best ones, and I'm not talking about happy endings here, I'm talking about the old Thai lady, the super old grandma, puts you in 10 different pretzels, the strongest woman you'll ever meet in your entire life. I mean, I love Thailand. Food is amazing. Vibe is chill. Ridiculously safe. This was my problem, actually, in Thailand. I was walking around everywhere. I'm like, I need to see a dude on a moto coming at me. I need to feel like my life is somewhat in danger. This is too easy. Everything is cheap. You can do whatever you want. There's all the safety you need. That was the one thing about Southeast Asia. Was like I felt like I was in Molasses. What's that word? The slow moving stuff, you know. Like I was just going through life too easy. You know, it was too Hakuna Matata. The other thing you said was beautiful. The start over thing, and this is why I think dudes should travel when they're broke. Okay, because you learn really quick. Like, damn, I can survive anywhere in this world, you know, like, especially if you have $1,500, like you can do, and a lot of dudes in the US say, oh my God, I got $1,500 a month. I'm broke. I need to go to the homeless shelter, right? No, you can survive and live pretty good at a lot of different places. And to have that in the back of your head, to know if everything hits the fan, you're not going to jump off a building when the stock market crashes. You're like, okay, you know, I'm going to go to the fucking middle of nowhere, Africa, and I'll make a way for myself. So that's a good mindset for people that a lot of people in developed worlds can't comprehend.
Yeah, dude, the start over pack is necessary, brother. It's necessary, guys. Like, yo, when your first year of traveling, you're going to be adventurous and just like want to see as many places. Then you eventually, like, this is literally the cycle. You then eventually slow down and you start slow traveling. So you pick a base for 3 to 4 months and you travel from there. And then you start to get into residencies and then community, right? So like, you know, I'm in the process of, I think I have 2 residencies. I'll probably do 3 or 4, have 2 passports, 3 or 4 residencies, right? Total. In the next, 4 years. And then real estate, right? So like you'll start to buy real estate in your favorite countries, right? Some from investment opportunities, some for living. Like, dude, if I bought a place to live in, I'm not renting it out, right? Like at all. I don't want anyone sleeping in my bed. I want to make it my home, right? And then after that, yeah, man, after you start getting places, now you have a global life and like you're just circling between your bases throughout the year, right? 10 months of the year, I'm going to be circling my 3 bases, and then 2 months of the year, I'm going to be going on vacation. So like I'll pick a new country to go to. Like I might come to Argentina, or I don't know, like I would even go to Austria, which you went to, bro. I'm very curious to hear about that offline. Austria, Hungary is on my list. Iceland's on my list. South Africa is on my list of places. I would never live in these places. I just want to go visit, right? So you'll start to figure out like how do you sustain yourself, but based upon what you like. But how you start traveling is going to be totally different than 3 years down the road. Like totally, it blows my mind to hear guys that have been traveling fast for more than 2 years. Like it's like you got to have stamina to do that, right? Or infinite curiosity, right?
Yeah, you got to be different, like wired differently.
You got to be different, bro. You got to be different.
And God bless them. And I tell you what, though, when you first start traveling, though, take that energy and go with it nonstop. I did 8 countries in 30 days once, okay? And I wasn't until like the end of it, I was like, holy crap, I need to relax for like a day or 2. And then I'd be excited to go travel again. But now I couldn't imagine ever doing something like that. So when you first start traveling and you get the travel bug, boom, take off. Do as much as you possibly freaking can. Burn yourself out, in my opinion. Your bases, I think all your steps is typical. And the last one is the family, and then building the businesses in the home bases areas and setting up life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that is the ideal world citizen path. And it sounds like you're well on your way. And it's good that you say Brazil and Italy. Me, my plan is 2 bases, okay? A home / I want like a hotel with my residency on it. So for business and stuff, and also being part of like the travel community still. So I can get away from these clowns, right? But it's going to be a nice boutique spot. I might even do 1 room that has 2 bunk beds. And I'll price the hostel part of it more expensive so I don't get the total clowns. But just to meet those people again and be around them. And I want my little cafe. I want the pool. And just to have I love that. I've been in a lot of different places, hotels, and I like that atmosphere. And then a place in South Italy. Okay. And I love the North, but I want the summer in Southern Italy. Plus, it's fucking dirt cheap. Okay. The real estate is very good value compared to the North. And then do my Italian summers, my Mediterranean summers there, and leave about 2 months maybe 3 if I need crazy travel. But those 2 bases is what I want. Now, the big problem is this. Okay, what about your family, bro? What about USA? Like, you fly back and forth and like, shit, I haven't been back during the Biden administration. I think I've been 1 month in the USA. And before that, it was a little more, but and I'm fine with it right now. But shit, my parents are getting older. Okay, my sister's getting older. My friends. I mean, you learn this traveling. Okay, when you get out, you leave, you see what friends are, who your actual friends are. Okay, I got dudes that I couldn't see for 2 years, and I see them tomorrow, and it's the same thing. You know, we shoot the shit on FaceTime, we do the group chats and all that, but how are we going to operate with this? You know, do you just cut ties with the USA or what?
Yeah, man. So for my family, I'm planning on retiring my parents overseas in the countries that they desire in my base. So like my mom, she's gonna meet up with me in Italy next summer. And we're gonna explore a little bit. She's open-minded. So I'm cool. Like I know I'm gonna take care of my parents. So she's also open to Thailand, retiring in Thailand. So that's kind of my secret plan there. Then my dad's coming to Brazil in a couple months for Christmas. So yeah, so if he likes Brazil, he can live in Brazil. If she likes Italy and Thailand, she can live in those places. And those are the places I'm going to be at. And I want to start a family, and I want my kids to be in my parents to be a part of that. So that's my secret plan. Now, dude, you mentioned something cool. So an idea that I have for Italy, which I have some friends interested now because I pitched them on it, is now that I know you're interested in Italy, it's probably, you know how real estate works, right? It's, groups, right? You buy neighborhoods, right? So something I'm super interested in is finding a village that has great logistics, beautiful scene, great lifestyle stuff, and have friends buy villas in that village, right? And so like it creates a community in the summer community for future kids and stuff like that. We can create businesses in that community to support the community. So you're not doing it alone. Like you're bringing a group of capital, sophistication, network into that village and raising the value of that property, right?
The government will buy into that too. The government would definitely buy into that because they already have all the stupid programs, the €1 shithole places that end up costing 250,000 euros. But yeah, I was gonna say you said okay, raise the value of the whole village because you still want the authentic, Southern Italian vibe. So if you just bring in a bunch of Americans and kick them all out, that's a problem. But also do the mafia. The mafia is not a joke in Southern Italy. Okay, Southern Italy and Sicily, that's not overhyped.
Same thing in Rio though, bro. Like you have a form of that. I don't want to get too trouble speaking about it, but it's like if I buy a place and let's say a nice place, I'm paying someone off, bro. Every month or every year, like straight up, like I'm paying someone off in Brazil. It is what it's a cost of doing business, bro. It's a cost of life. Like it is what it is. Like, and it can, it is what it is, man. Just leave it there. I won't know.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of success stories with these investment schemes in the South. But look, dude, I spent 2 years in Italy. Like the mafia is not just in the South anymore. They have their tentacles in the North, the politicians, the banking, all that kind of stuff. So it's not out in the open where you're getting shaken down. But in the South, bro, they're still a little backward. We're not going to get if you're anyone listening to this traveling and wants to rent a place or do vacation there, you're never going to be in trouble. Okay, but I mean, you're talking about freaking buying up villages and stuff like, But I like the idea, I really do. Anyways,
it's about buying homes in a village. Like if I find like a great place that's on the sea and it's like houses between 30 and 60,000 euros, and I have friends that are interested in also just buying a vacation home. It's like I will want my friends to also buy a house in that village as well, and we can spend summers together in Italy, right? Like once you get like 40, 50 years old, you don't hang out with your friends. You know what I mean? You might have kids, things like that in the summer, so they have people to play with, things like that. So that was
do
the
football, sports together.
Yeah,
like this is my big problem is how do I get my kid to have the same life I grew up with? Obviously international schools, but then summertime, they got to be doing something with kids, and I think it'll be good for their brain to have so many different cultures and whatnot, or they might go crazy. So that's the issue. But that's a great idea. So, and it's fucking crazy. You said the 2 spots, that I've been thinking about for a while now. So, maybe this is a match made in heaven. I'm glad you came on the podcast. But last thing on your mind, my friend, what do you have for me?
I mean, I'll leave you guys with this. I'll leave you with this. So, if you want to travel, do it. Like, shoot your shot. I think Thailand, Bali, and Brazil are must-do things. I hate to say skip Europe if you can, but Europe is easy if you want to, if you love history and backpacking Europe. I mean, it's unbelievable. But I think Brazil is, a place you have to go. There's not, it's just so much culture. I think it's amazing. And then Bali, Bangkok, and if you can make the time, go to Tokyo as well. And this is for cherry blossoms. Freaking beautiful. The food is great. But just shoot your shot, right? Like I think once you become cultured and you realize it's actually cheaper to live abroad than it is in the United States, and you can just find a remote job online, it's going to be very hard to go back. And don't get lost in the sauce. So, women are great, but like don't make that women like the center of your travel. The drugs, things like that. Just try to keep clean, stay out of trouble, because usually the most trouble you get in is involving one of those two things, right? And meet people, right? You'll have friendships around the world. I still talk to a lot of the friends I've made around the world, and we have plans to meet up in certain countries throughout the year. So just shoot your shot is where I'm getting. Like once you get into this lifestyle, it's going to be hard to go back. It's impossible.
Yeah, great points. I think a lot of people should start off backpacking Europe. Maybe not now. You saw my Salzburg vlog, right? I was like, what the fuck? I found a place for like 130 euros. Decent spot. 300 euros for the next place, and then hostels. Hostels used to be like 10, 15 euros, maybe 20 euros, like any city you can go there, right? I mean, you can live you guys got to watch the movie, The Hostel, the horror movie, or what was it? Road Trip, the famous funny one. Forgot the Americans going through Road Trip. Yeah. You got to live that experience, and you'll get used to the travel life, and it's super safe. There's no issue. Maybe now actually in the city centers of some places, you got to watch your back in Europe. But then as soon as you can get your feet wet with South America, Latin America, do it. Okay. Mexico, you can start in the Riviera, super easy, Americanized. But once you taste that South America, I say there's life before Brazil and life after Brazil. It changes everything. Okay. It's fucking insane, And, but yeah, Southeast Asia, another great destination. It's just tough with the hours if you're working. Okay. But you save up a little money, you can live really cheap over there and experience basically Latin America, but safe, in my opinion. They're very similar. But yeah, man, awesome. Well, hey, it was great to meet you first time. I like this better than just a normal phone call. We get valuable content out. A lot of this good stuff will resonate with people, and I hope you enjoy your time in Argentina.
All right, brother. Peace. Enjoy Africa, man.
I will. It's crazy. All right, everyone else, live bold.